An area within ATEC is a vibrant area is critical media studies. So I'm just going to have a few words on what process modeling might mean within critical media studies. Some things you can think about. So critical media studies, or CMS, primarily I would say in doing critiques, generally dealing with natural language. So this isn't uniformly true. I mean, it's possible that the critical media studies practitioner and researcher may use flowcharts or code or something like that, but I would say most of the models, if we're talking about process model, would be engaging in the discussion of process using natural language. And we've seen examples of the use of natural language as a process modeling technique in another video earlier. So to refer back to the natural language section in terms of thinking about natural language. Now, of course, flowcharts can be used. Flowcharts are other ways, visual ways of representing process. So I'll be covering some examples here. Here's a kind of flowchart that you might find someone in critical media studies that is looking at biases in, say, the criminal justice system, why it's unfair to one group. There's a bias against a particular group, say a minority group, or group of a particular race or gender. And so this is just one flowchart you can find on what happens in the criminal justice system. And so the importance for this of critical media studies is that this kind of model, whether we agree with it or we find it accurate or not, this sort of model can serve as a point for explaining where bias can occur or does occur within a system. So it's a diagrammatic model where you start at the very left, which is evidence of a crime, right? And then you kind of go through this system from left to right, and you finally, ideally, end up out of the system. And so all of these other things that are going on provide a way of sort of thinking about critical media studies process modeling that goes beyond writing. And that's really just the example. This is just sort of shown as an example. Another might be in the area of personal jurisdiction. And this is more of what I would call a data flow chart, where information is flowing from left to right. This is more of a control flow chart, where you've got yes and no branches, and you kind of go through this system based on control flow, based on whether something is determined to be no or yes. And you can look at this in great detail at your leisure, but again, this I think would fit within CMS as a potential modeling technique to describe the area of personal jurisdiction. Another thing that may be of interest is in thinking about free speech or restrictions on speech. And this is taken from Bennett and Bennett, Texas Court Harassment Statute. And it is sort of just describing the idea of speech. Does the statute restrict speech or no, right? And it's a kind of a visual representation of this process of determining and deciding what speech is restricted.